Thanks. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our webinar to introduce the Half Your Plate program. CPMA is a collection of members who are all important in the produce industry across Canada. We represent about 800 companies who are active in fresh fruits and vegetables in Canada. In 2013, CPMA reached out to the health community across the country to talk to people about what is preventing consumers from having more fresh fruit and vegetables in their diet. Through a series of 2 health summits that were held in 2013 and 2014, we spoke with over 100 Canadian health professionals, asking them what they're hearing on the front lines as far as what is making it more difficult for people to increase their produce consumption. We know from our research that Canadians are consuming approximately 1 to 4 servings of fruit and vegetables per day. This is lower than recommended by Canada's Food Guide, which bases their recommendations on gender and age. This number has also been fairly consistent over the past 10 years. So our question to the health community was, what are the barriers to greater consumption? We heard 3 common themes. The first is that people said they didn't have enough time or knowledge on how to prepare produce. So one of the aims of our program is to address this situation. Another common barrier is around price. And we had lots of discussions with people about access to affordable produce. One of the things that came out loud and clear from the health summits is that price is often tied to food skills. If people aren't certain how to prepare produce, they often end up throwing it away or preparing it in a way that isn't necessarily very appealing or tasty, and so they don't go back and visit that commodity again. Or their family doesn't prefer it because there was really no appetizing way to prepare it. Half Your Plate speaks to the food skills and to the price question. We also asked the retail community what they hear from their customers. Again, price was mentioned, but there was also a general lack of information about how to purchase produce, how to store it, how to use it, and various recipes. So the outcomes from the research we did with the health community really led us to a few conclusions. That consumption is stagnant and not consistent with Canada's Food Guide recommendations, that there's a lack of a consistent message. There are lots of messages, especially in retail and on the internet, about what consumers should be doing, but they're fragmented and it can be difficult for people to know exactly what the message is. They're looking for something clear and concise. We know that food skills are a challenge for a number of people, especially for children. So children that have grown up in a household where food is not traditionally prepared in the kitchen, or where a lot of processed foods or ready-to-eat foods are the norm, they don't have the food skills to try new produce items and to make that decision to include them in their meals and snacks. Again, the perception of the high cost of produce, which we spoke to briefly, and then retailers are really looking for support. So how do they speak to their customers and provide them with clear, consistent messaging? So with these outcomes in mind, CPMA and our members set out to come to a program that would consistent and long-term for the Canadian public, and the result was Half Your Plate. This program was really put together with a lot of key partners, including the Canadian Cancer Society, the Heart and Stroke Foundation, Canadian Public Health, the regional produce marketing associations across the country, and Health Canada. The program had to be consistent with Canada's Food Guide messaging and with the strategic priorities of our health partners whom we'd invited to the table and asked to help us with this messaging. The rationale behind Half Your Plate is very simple. We wanted a clear message that would last long term. We wanted it to be consistent with Canada's Food Guide, and we needed something that could be easy to implement no matter your age or gender or your circumstance. Half Your Plate provides people with direction that's not quantitative in the fact that there's no measuring, no calorie counting. We heard a lot from consumers that they didn't want to have to track what they were eating or count calories because that felt more like a diet, and they weren't looking for a diet, they were looking for lifestyle information. So Half Your Plate takes away the counting, and it's applicable to any meal setting. The messages around the program are very simple and very consistent with Health Canada's food messaging. So we're asking people to fill half their plate with fruits and veggies at every meal, to choose fruits and veggies as snacks, And we want them to know that there are correlations between increased produce consumption and decreased risk of some chronic diseases. And so these messages are aligned with our health partner messages, and the Heart and Stroke Foundation and Canadian Cancer Society in particular call out some of these specific messages in their program materials. Who's involved in Half Your Plate? Right now, we're rolling it out in Canadian retail locations, and we have many major retailers, some of whom are on your screen, participating in the program. They have Half Your Plate logo on in their store flyers and on materials in store. We're starting to see the logo on packaging of fresh produce items in the grocery department. There are several small independent stores whose logos you don't see there, but they're listed on the bottom, who are starting to use the program as well. So the widespread acceptance of the logo and the messaging in retail really means that consumers see that consistent messaging no matter where they shop. We know that people don't necessarily have grocery store loyalty like they did 10 years ago, and they shop in various locations multiple times a week. So it's important that they see the same message and same logo no matter where they're shopping. And we're thankful to our retail partners who have helped to make this possible. So what is Half Your Plate, and how is it available for you to use in your everyday work? Half Your Plate is primarily available online. We have a robust website, halfyourplate.ca, and the purpose of the website is to address the common themes. So we look at food skills, we look at price of produce, and we look at how to integrate produce into easy recipes that any age group can help prepare. So you'll find recipes on the website, but you'll also find storage tips and purchasing tips. One of the questions we often have from consumers is, how do I know what to use first when I get my weekly shopping home? What's going to go bad in the fridge before the end of the week? The storage tips are designed to help people understand that. We also have cost-saving tips. They're available per commodity as well as per meal function. So we focus a lot on seasonality and how to use the things that are available in season to stretch your produce dollar. We also have on the website for health professionals, we've taken the top 20 fruits and top 20 vegetables in Canada and prepared a fact sheet. And these were done in consultation with registered dietitians. So each fruit and vegetable has a sheet that provides purchasing information, storage information, facts about that produce, recipes, and various things about how to use them. We heard from a lot of store dietitians that people often have one way of preparing a particular vegetable in particular, and that they'd like to expand that repertoire. So the fact sheets give them additional information. When I get the mushrooms home, how do I use them, and how do I use them different on Wednesday than I did on Monday? These program resources are all available in printable format electronically, and they're available for use by anyone who's involved in the Half Your Plate program. We have a very simple process to get involved in the program. On the website, there is an electronic Memorandum of Understanding document. It's a very simple letter that states that program participants will use the logo with the color scheme and the graphics as they've been designed. The reason for this is that we really want to ensure consistency with Health Canada's food guide messaging. The logo is very similar to the logos that Health Canada uses around healthy plates. The color schemes are consistent, so we're trying to ensure that consumers see the same style of logo whenever they're looking for health information in Canada. Another part of the program that's been very popular in the short term that it's been running is the University and College Ambassador Program. This was designed with young people in mind who are away from home, often for the first time making their own food purchasing decisions, or living in a situation where they're eating in a cafeteria on a regular basis. So the Ambassador Program speaks in the language of young people. It talks to them about how to use their food dollars and to stretch them to make the healthiest choices available on a budget. It also provides tips and ideas when you're eating in a cafeteria, how to make the most of the choices that are available to you and to use them to maximize healthy choices in a cafeteria setting. We had a question from somebody online about where the collateral materials are available on the website, and there is an industry partners link there where you'll find the Memorandum of Understanding. By clicking through that, you'll be sent a link to the resources page. The MOU is really so we can track who's using the program and follow up with you and keep you informed about events that are coming up or other resources as they're made available. So please do take a moment to click on the MOU and agree that you'll use the brand guidelines appropriately. Also on that industry resources page, we have access to an online newsletter. So you can sign up to receive the newsletter approximately every month, and that will feature a fruit and vegetable of the month as well as other supporting materials around that. We'll also speak directly to the dietetic community. So questions that we receive through the month that we find a common theme, we'll incorporate some of those things into the newsletter for your use. The Ambassador program has been sent to several schools across Canada who are now piloting this project, and they will be providing feedback to us throughout the course of this school year. Next fall, we hope to have a wider spread use of the Ambassador program right across Canada. But if anyone's interested in seeing the resource, it is online as well, and you can access it and have a look through and provide your feedback. Half Your Plate is intentionally meant to be a very organic grassroots program. The materials are there that are provided to you are available for your use and adaptation to fit in with programs that you already have on the go. The logo can be easily added to current healthy eating resources which you might already produce. It can be used on your websites and in your social media feeds. We do have a robust social media campaign as part of Half Your Plate. We use the hashtag #HalfYourPlate on our Twitter posts and in our social media activities. And in the short time that we've been online, we have quite a following of over 20,000 Facebook fans and very good engagement on Twitter. There's also Instagram and Pinterest where we have a Half Your Plate presence, Social media has really provided us with an opportunity to engage with the Canadian public, and we're getting lots of people who are sending us suggestions or questions or things that they're interested in helping them make healthier food choices. So it's been a very interactive media for us to use. Last week, we held a Twitter party in partnership with our health partners, and in the 1 hour that we were online, we had over 7 million impressions of the Half Your Plate hashtag. That really said to us that people are engaged in this, that they have an interest in the topics around healthy eating, and they can relate to the Half Your Plate idea.